A gilded design, wondering if the mirror reflects someone right. In the wide, wide, wider world we're on, against lying charlatans that charm. The likes of parallax, and yes, that parody, not charity, cushioned by security.
Phineas Armstrong was the joker in the deck, the element of chance introduced into two disparate efforts. Hath and Estolia's mission to save the planet from the power-hungry, and the power-hungry's drive to consolidate their dominance, rendering it unbreakable and impermeable. His insane efforts touched as many lives as the Lion's decree in Hath, deciding who would be allowed into the nation to work on the project. History will look back on these events and see either a grand synergy or a cosmic chaos. Gideon Zakarian designates journal.
3 weeks later, Bo sat at the breakfast table wondering if Sebastiani Zakarian would ever appear. A couple were ushered into the room where he sat, and he stood up, at first wondering if the man who had entered was his unknowing host. After a moment, however, he recognized him.
"You're Reardon Cormac, aren't you?"
Reardon smiled and gave a bow of his head.
"This is my wife, Melody. Zeb asked me to come and meet with you since he was quite unavoidably detained."
"I'm Beau Montmorency,"
he said. Bo sat back down at the breakfast table and was grateful when the unobtrusive staff brought food out for the couple. The servants had already cleared the table of dishes, leaving only a pot of coffee. After they were done eating, the other man said,
"Do you mind if we have a chat right here at the breakfast table?"
"I think it's a delightful room. This is fine by me,"
he replied.
"My wife will stay as well if you don't mind."
Bo could see that there really was not a choice being offered to him, but he did not care. His job was so vague that it did not really matter.
"From what I understand, Bo,"
Reardon began,
"you received a communication urging you to meet with Zeb to potentially become his personal assistant. You were not at all sure if he knew you were coming, or whether you would actually get a job. But having learned about many of the unsavory aspects of your former employer's business dealings, you chose to leave and take a chance on a new job."
"That about sums it up,"
Bo said. He shuddered slightly at the thought of the things he had accidentally uncovered about the supposedly non-profit group that employed him for 6 years.
"I was the one who sent you the letter,"
Reardon admitted.
"I didn't know if you'd accept the invitation without additional incentives, but I was pleasantly surprised when you chose to follow the provided itinerary exactly. It was especially interesting to note that you didn't open the envelope with the cab fare. You had the driver open it. You made his day when your tip was nearly the same as the fare itself. I wanted to see whether you'd divert any of that money into your own pocket."
"I've never been motivated by money in a big way,"
he said.
"I was more interested in the job than in calculating cab fare or figuring out whether I could skim a few dollars for myself."
Bo's thoughts slid back to the moment his instincts turned against Caraway. The deeper he dug into the code, the clearer the pattern became. Shell transfers, false charities, money routed through layers designed to blur ownership. Criminal. If he hadn't tripped an alarm, they might have accepted the fiction of his meeting with Michael Othello. But suspicion changed the calculus. Once they realized he had seen too much, they would not hesitate. A few $1 million would not outweigh containment. He had only just accepted that he could not return to his apartment or his job when someone knocked briskly on Keen's door.
"The reason Zeb couldn't make it out here is that he got unexpectedly married. He's been on honeymoon in the Mediterranean."
Reardon leaned forward.
"I really wanted you to take this unexpected and unexplained offer, Bo. I believed you might be murdered if I did not remove you from where you were."
Reardon held his gaze. There was no drama in his face, no attempt at emphasis. A flicker of doubt moved through Bo. Had it truly been that serious?
"Did you get any proof that I would be harmed if I remained?"
Reardon looked grim.
"Your duplex burned down."
He gave Bo a moment to absorb it.
"It was not accidental. You were the target."
His gaze held steady.
"We intervened where we could. The only casualty was the elderly cat belonging to the couple upstairs. You have no home to return to."
Do they think they succeeded?
Mary nodded.
We used a few strategic bribes. My brother Keen tearfully identified the body, and a homeless person who died of natural causes was buried in style.
Bo felt a wrench of unreality. He had known he could not go back, but he had not imagined they would erase him. Then her words sank in.
Keen is your brother?
She gave a small smile.
He let me know about your situation, and I informed Reardon.
Aside from a few friends, Keen among them, and a mother whose memories ended years before she met his father, he had no family left. There was little to mourn, a job that had soured, a duplex reduced to ash, and cousin the cat lost in the fire.
What now?
He asked.
I hope you will understand,
Reardon said carefully,
that your personal computer was accessed. The evidence you gathered against Parity has been secured and added to a file we have been compiling on that organization. It was one of the necessary steps.
The sensation was familiar, the same tightening at the corners of his eyes he had felt the day he met Corman Contro. Awareness prickled as he mentally itemized the safeguards on his computer, biometric locks, cascading alerts, digital tracers that would have ignited the moment an unauthorized hand touched the system. Access without his knowledge would have alerted Parity within minutes. Then he remembered the third night at the Zakarian complex, the unnatural depth of his sleep, the leaden fog when he woke. He grimaced.
You drugged me to access the computer?
Melody's laugh was musical, bright with satisfaction.
I think that Keen is a genius.
She beamed at Bo.
Yes, you were drugged. Keen said you are one of the most perceptive men he knows, that you read a room the way other people read a screen. He warned us that if Parity ever let you sit across from one of their architects, you would see through them.
Her smile sharpened slightly.
They made that mistake.
Did you know that you were adopted?
Reardon asked. Bo acknowledged that with a brief nod. He knew, but only because his mother's dementia meant that she was permanently stuck in the past. For her it was 1988, more than 8 years before he was born, 6 years before she met the man he thought was his father. Until the psychologist at the assisted living facility suggested he should stop visiting her altogether, their visits were always chaotic, churning up emotions for both of them. She would tell him how traumatic it was that she and Charlie discovered she couldn't have children, couldn't carry a pregnancy to term. He didn't know who Charlie was, but it wasn't his father. The trauma of Charlie leaving her for some other woman, or as she liked to put it, for some broodmare willing to pop out babies for him, was the only thing she could talk about, the greatest tragedy of her life. He couldn't discover any further details, since his father was dead and his mother couldn't remember.
I had you investigated extensively once you were safely within this complex,
Reardon said.
From what I gathered, I probably know more about your background than you do.
He glanced at his wife, who nodded slowly and reached out to caress his hand.
Your mother was Casey Amador. She planned to raise you herself as a single mother. When she learned that she was dying, she arranged a private adoption with the condition that you be named Beauregard Excalibur. Your parents were happy to receive a newborn son without having to go through the usual channels. Casey died 3 days after you were adopted.
The information came too quickly. Names, conditions, dates. Bo let the facts settle into his heart, his soul. He didn't trust himself to respond. His birth mother, Casey Amador, wanted him, meant to keep him. She chose his name, insisted on it, his father. He looked up and found something unreadable in Reardon's eyes.
Casey never recorded who the father of her child was. It's likely that he died shortly after you were conceived.
You will be 30 next month?
Melody asked. Bo nodded.
In 10 days.
He said.
The Amador family originally comes from the island nation of Estolia,
Reardon said.
Sebastiani Zakarian is Estolian. He makes his home here, outside Barcelona. From what I understand, he may be embarking on a 5-year project in the Middle East, and he will need an assistant while he is working on the project. It will take a few months to set it up. When I spoke with him, he agreed that the best course for you would be to travel to Estolia for 2 or 3 months. It will accomplish several things at once. You will remain beneath the radar. You will become acquainted with your ancestral home and meet cousins and more distant relatives. and I believe it would serve you well to change your name legally to Beau Amador. It will help keep you hidden from parody, and it is something your birth mother would have liked.
What else will it accomplish?
Beau had the sense the primary reason for his traveling to Estolia had not yet been named.
If you are going to be an associate of Zeb Zakarian, it is critical that you understand him.
Melody said.
You will spend your time in Estolia, coming to know the religion and the nation in a way that prepares you to serve him well. The position you are being asked to accept is not temporary. It is a lifetime post.
Beau frowned.
I do still wish to find a wife at some point.
He had begun to think about marriage in the last few weeks, since he came to live in this complex. Melody laughed.
Marriage is sacred to Estolians.
She glanced at her husband with a peculiar expression.
Zeb would want you to marry, and he would expect you to put your wife first.
Okay,
He said.
I'll go to Estolia.
He did not have any other plans for the rest of his life. If this couple were telling him the truth, he had no other life to return to.
Will I be staying at a hotel?
He couldn't use any of his credit cards if he was considered dead,
There are no hotels in Estolia,
Reardon said.
You'll be Zeb's guest. He isn't there at present, so you'll stay in the palace.